Google unveiled a ton of interesting stuff at their recent Google I/O conference, and some of them I feel like aren't getting talked about as much as others. So I wanted to talk about a couple of my favorite announcements from the Google I/O conference where I was able to go and attend live and share, I think, some perspectives on the ones that are going to make the biggest impact in AI and in the industry. So let's get into it. Before we do, I wanted to mention that my startup AI Box is officially launching our first product, the AI Box Playground, which essentially allows you to use all of the different top AI models and chat with them all in the same chat. So we have Anthropic, Cohere, DeepSeek, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Mistral, NVIDIA, OpenAI, Qwen, XAI, a ton of image models, text to speech and speech to text models. And the cool thing is you can chat with all of them in the same chat. They understand the context of the previous models. If you want Claude to do something that you don't think OpenAI has a great tone for, you can switch mid-model. You can also ask it a question and get 2 models to generate responses or 4 models to generate responses, and click a little compare button and compare all the responses side by side to see which one you like the best. This is especially cool, I think, with images because we have a bunch of awesome image models. You give one prompt and get 3 different image models to generate the image, and then it's very clearly you can pick which one you like the most. And there's a lot of interesting nuances that different models have over others. Very cool platform. It's $19 a month, so you don't need subscriptions to all the top 20 platforms. Pay $19 a month, you get access to everything on here. It's aibox.ai. There is a link in the description, and I'd love for you to try it out. We just launched it as our beta, and I'm super excited about it. All right, let's get into what Google is doing. One of the big announcements I wanted to talk about first from Google was something that is getting embedded into Google Meet, and that is an automatic voice clone and translation. So they showed off a demo where essentially there was someone Google Meet voice conference, and inside of it, they were talking and they would say something and talk. They had this feature enabled, and they would pause for 1 second, and then it would be a voice clone of themselves speaking in the language of the person that they're talking to. This makes it incredibly useful to not have translators. I could imagine this is useful for virtually any business that is doing things with people in other languages. You could also even imagine, sometimes I feel like I have coworkers, even at AI Box, that are from other countries, and English is, not their first language. English is a bit of a struggle, but they're incredibly talented at what they do. And so when we get on calls, sometimes we've had, for example, developers from Japan that English was a struggle for them, but they were incredible developers. And so when we're communicating about what we need to get done, it's sometimes we miscommunicate things, and it's not as clear. So this is like one of our biggest issues. Now, if we had a tool like this where essentially we could be discussing, what needs to be done in a project, it gets translated directly to their native tongue of Japanese, for example. When they respond back, it's in English. We're very clear on what's happening. This, I think, is an absolute game changer. And I think it's going to actually, literally a tool like this will unlock. It seems like a small thing. It's like, oh, cool. There's kind of a translate thing built into Google Meet. I think this tool itself will account for the ability to unlock hiring in other countries in a way that hasn't been done before. No longer is English going to, you need to speak English at all to be able to work at a lot of smaller startups. And I know maybe bigger companies, this wasn't a problem. Maybe Google has a whole Japanese headquarters that they don't even speak English, and it's fine because that's just what they do over there. I kind of feel like you need to cross-collaborate work in a specific language in most organizations, and especially in smaller businesses or medium-sized businesses. So I think this is an actual literal game changer for hiring people in other countries that speak different languages that are incredibly talented. And so I think that's going to be a really, really exciting outcome from this particular tool. The other thing that I thought was really interesting that got announced was just the fact that Google has a brand new video experience built into Android on their using Gemini essentially, but it's a video mode. Now, ChatGPT kind of came out with something similar to this, but it's cool to see Google rolling this out in a bigger way. But essentially, you can walk around, point your camera at things, and you're having a voice call with it. You ask it about what you're seeing. This is awesome. They kind of demoed it as oh, this is really cool for people that are blind. They can just point the camera and be like, hey, what am I seeing? And it's like, oh, this is a music rack. The stands are over there if you're looking for them, and the person can use it to do stuff. But I think it's actually very useful for just everyday things. I do this in a way with images. So I'll take a picture of something and I'm like, Grok, what am I looking at here? Or where is this location? Or where is the piece that I need to change for my, car repair I'm trying to do? And these AI models are good at it. I think video takes it to a new level because you get a lot of nuance and smaller details that are shown in video that you might not be able to see so well in an image. Now, that being said, I mean, it's kind of like it's taking a billion screenshots a second. That's how these video models work. But it's really impressive that they've been able to roll this out. So this is a feature that I'm super, super excited about. The other one that I'm really excited about is the fact, I mean, less of excited, but I just think it's really impressive, is the fact that Google has on their Gemini app 400 million monthly active users. Now, the thing that I think is a big deal here is we have other players, right? Meta's like, yeah, we have like 500 million like users on our, Llama model or whatever, but they don't specify, like if you just go on Instagram and you just search for something, technically that's Meta AI. And so technically that's the Llama model. And so like, they don't really specify where all those users come from. And they kind of embedded it into other services that I think obfuscate the actual amount of people that are trying to use Meta AI. With this is different. They're saying on the actual Gemini app, they have 400 million monthly active users. So this is actually a huge number, because I think ChatGPT is at like 600 million. And so it's really not that far behind as far as people that are actually trying to download that app and use it. So that is what I'm excited about. And of course, they have their incredible new video model that's been really impressive. And I think overall, Google has just been doing a ton that has really been ramping up the usage and just the viability of their products. The last thing I wanted to mention here is, while I was at the Google I/O conference, I actually saw Sergey Brin. He was there, kind of like the testing lab with like a ton of other people. He was going in and testing out the new VO3 video creation tool, getting it to do some things. And I do think that Google is I'm much more bullish on Google than ever before, just for the fact that they have kind of one of the original founders back in action. Apparently he's he's looking very in depth into every little detail, every little product they release. He's testing it out, trying it himself. He's making a lot of, I think it just takes the high agency that a founder has to really put a new directive on a company. And I think he's putting a very strong directive on Google to make some big changes. For example, when they announced, that they, at this conference, that they're adding an AI mode to search, and they essentially have like a ChatGPT kind of Perplexity experience complete on its own in search that nukes all of the blue links of the past. That someone like Sergey has to be there to like really push them in order to say like, look, this might cannibalize some of our ad revenue, but we have to do this. This is the future, or Google is going to get seriously disrupted. So for that, I'm really excited and quite optimistic about what's happening over at Google. I'll keep you up to date on all of the latest things they roll out. They're doing a ton with self-driving Waymo and a lot of other interesting announcements that they have made at the conference and that they're rolling out. So I'll keep you up to date on all of that. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. And make sure you go check out AIbox.ai. If you want to check out my own startup, our very first product, the AIbox Playground, is phenomenal, if I do say so myself. I'm super excited about it, but I really hope that it, number one, saves you a ton of money on not having to get 20 subscriptions to the top models, but also allows you to learn more about AI by testing more models than you've ever tried before, because you will be surprised by how some models are much better at tasks than others. Image, audio, text, it's all on AIbox.ai. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time.